Well, hello and welcome. I'm looking a bit disheveled today. Yes, I had my infusion. It took 2 attempts to find a vein today. So my poor little hand, ah, my poor little hand has little holes in it. But we're done. I'm feeling okay at the moment. So we'll go. I thought we'd go while I feel okay. I've actually been sleeping. So I've actually just woken up so I could be with you all. So, hence the disheveled look. So thank you all for joining me. Very, very appreciated. So, got a few updates for you. And then, would you believe it? The person that said they were too sick to do a live did a live. Yep. Did a live, and we're back criticizing Catholics again. But interestingly, hi Leah. Lee, interestingly, one of the stories she tells is very similar to a story she told the other night, but it's slightly different. So I'm sure the truth is in there somewhere. The truth is out there. Hey, sounds like something out of, what was it? What was that TV show with Fox and was it Mulder? Fox and Mulder. What was that called? My brain's gone. My brain packed up and went for town. Did we expect anything less from KJ? Says commentator. Well, the thing that I don't understand. This is the thing I don't understand. She had the X-Files. Yes, thank you. The injection was in her hand, in her arm, yet she's wearing a hat. Why would you need to wear a hat? Made it again. Hopefully my internet will last. So I've just got so last night, last time I was on, about the girl. She's in a very critical condition after being shot in the head in North Minneapolis. Now, what's really interesting, they've given a little bit more details. They said that she was on the trampoline with other children when she was shot. They suspect that the car was driving down an alley when the suspect shot at a home, hitting a preteen girl in the head. She was playing on a trampoline, people. She was playing on a trampoline. And no one else was hurt. She's in a critical condition. So they're saying that's the second child to be shot in the head in Minneapolis. So in April, a 10-year-old boy was shot while in a car. And they've not made any arrests for that one either. So it's just bizarre. You haven't slept any, feel the love. Hello, Busy Bee. Hello, Gingerly. That they've not been able to catch these people. But maybe it's to cover bald spots from the rain, as she said before. Yeah, well, it's either that or she's trying to protect her brain. So that was that one. So that they've got no idea, no further, but she's still in a critical condition. This is so we're just going to do some updates before we get into KJ, and I'm not going to so this is a little bit of a sad story too. So this is a follow-up on the boy that died in that garbage bin. So about a month or so ago, he actually went missing, and she posted a message to say, has anyone seen him? If you see him or know where he is, please let me know. As I've contacted the police, he's been put down as a missing person, so please tell him to come home. Now, there's been on her Facebook page, there's been lots of people criticizing her. And his brother had just had his 16th birthday as well. Now, she was saying that she was known that she would just go out. If she was outside and it was cold, she would look for somewhere warm to sleep too. So, oops. as we as kids, so she said, we as kids make these silly decisions out of, I wonder what it would be like these moments, or too tired to make decisions, especially if we are hanging around children who are bad influences. There was probably warm boxes out of the weather in the wheelie bin. Personally, I would sleep there too, buddy, if it was warm out of the weather and my feet were tired. Probably would have left or wake up before the truck came, though. So that's a really, it's a really sad story. So they're still saying that they've got no idea. They've not been able to get to any reasoning as to why the boys were in there. All they know is that they tried to seek shelter at McDonald's before they crawled into the bin when the temperature dropped to 16 degrees Celsius. So there's been an inquiry. They would like an independent inquiry into his death, because they're saying there's obviously something wrong with the system. But he wasn't in state care. At the end of the day, he wasn't in state care. So I don't know. It's one of those mysteries that we may not ever know the answer to. Why he didn't go home that night, why he slept in a bin, and why he ultimately tragically died. So poor India. India has just copped it big time. India's actually had a cyclone that has hit them, causing flooding, and 6 people have died. It means there's been 150,000 people evacuated from a village, and it also means that COVID vaccinations have been suspended as well. So it looks like it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. They've said 31 boats registered with the state are actually missing. There are 80 disaster management teams in there. But poor India is just copping it from all directions at the moment. Hello, Anita. Greetings. So just when you think it couldn't get any worse for India, it has. They've just been beaten by, they've got this cyclone that's bearing down on them as well. So they're hoping to have the evacuation process complete soon. So I just find that to be very, very sad. Very, very sad. All right. Hello, Gigi B1. So we'll have a quick look at Instagram before we look at the live. And then this will probably be a short live because I don't want to, I'm as I said, I'm a bit out of it at the moment. The rest of the world is getting worse, and here the CDC is telling people we don't have to wear a mask indoors vaccinated. Yeah, I have to say, in my own little unmedical mind, it doesn't make any sense unless the whole population, if everybody check out when the numbers of India, it has to do with the vax start. I'm sure it does. I mean, the thing is, unless the whole population is vaccinated, then I'd say masks, but not until then. Okay. So we started off this morning. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 Instagram posts today. I read that everybody count might be lower than we thought, since the local villagers have always used the coastline as barrier line. That might be, that would be good, Wind Whispers, if that is the case. All right. So here we go. This one says, Anna Duggar apparently gets mixed messages from IBLP on divorce. In Wisdom Book 26, Homeschooling Lessons, the whole book is devoted to marriage, sex, and divorce. Bill Gothard on the first page explains covenant marriages, which is a contract covenant with God. I wish you'd use capital G. Divorce is wrong because you can't go the non-believers or state the end of marriage since your marriage is with God. The covenant marriage is a vow with God. Bill says the marriage is a blood marriage and the wife offers her blood on the marriage right night after the couple consummates their marriage. Yes, blood from the bride is a requirement. I mean, why does she need to write this? On the first page, Bill says you can get a divorce if a partner is unfaithful. But then, hi Kim, but then later says you can't get divorced for a partner that is unfaithful. Well, that's contradictory. In fact, everything she said so far contradicts everything she said. Later, Bill explains when someone can get divorced, men that commit sodomy sex with another man and incest can have their wives divorce them, but not for cheating. There is nothing listed about abuse. Divorce for unfaithfulness apparently destroys God's relationship with Israel, the redemption of mankind, Christ's relationships with the church, and their relationship with the law. And it is taught that she will destroy salvation, the church, Israel. That's a lot of fear to instill in someone to divorce. She likely believes she has to stay because if she does, it will destroy the world. Imagine putting that much fear into someone about marriage. Imagine lying to children in this way and then telling them they can't leave their spouse if unfaithful. Also, homophobia, hello, bite me now, is littered in most books, so it's no wonder the Duggars and the Bates hate the LGBTQ, and they're taught the LGBTQ are abominations and going to hell for the greatest sin against God. Imagine making innocent people into the devil. Sad. Bill says that men having sex with other men is totally acceptable for getting divorced, but if your husband cheats on you with a woman, well, that's not what the Bible says. But anyway, I did actually have a read of this. I did actually have a read of this earlier. And again, I struggled to find, like she's quoted a page. But again, I can't find the exact stuff that she's saying there. Then she says, Jill Duggar Dillard and her family took a camping trip. Yeah, I bet she's still slating. Yes, I bet she is. I think so too. Jill Duggar Dillard and her family took a camping trip to get away from all Dillard. Derek just graduated from law school. I'm guessing with all the negative press about Josh, the escape was a welcome break. It says she's written. Now, she doesn't mention, Jill doesn't mention anything about Josh here. She says, we escaped for a couple of nights. It was a nice getaway nature to get on Derek's break this week. No cell service and Wi-Fi are nice sometimes. We hiked, swam, camped, moored, saw lots of critters and even some elk, explored and just chilled as much as you can with chilled children begging for attention. So Derek had a week off, so they got away. But why has she now posted it about, I'm guessing with all the negative press about Josh? Why does it have to be about Josh? Why is it that Jill and Derek get away? It comes back to Josh. That's what I want to know. Can someone make this make sense for me? Just realized you couldn't see me. Exactly, bite me now. The Bible does allow for abuse if the spouse is cheating or if the spouse is abusive. Correct. Jill Duggar has been in therapy for several years, not Christian therapy. Jill sees a licensed marriage and family therapist, according to their YouTube. In the IBLP, children are told to obey their chain of authority. Children are told to obey. Kids are to submit to the authority of their father. The dad is the top of the authority, only next to God. I've been told by numerous women that their fathers would make them marry men because their father told them this is God's will. Kids are discouraged from seeking independent counsel or help outside of their families. They are kept from school and not allowed to associate with kids outside the cult. Fathers can use this technique for just about anything. I would not doubt that Jim Bob tells his kids it's God's will that they film. Derek Dillard has said Jim Bob uses threats to make kids film. Jill grew up being told she had to listen to her father for everything. These stories from 2 years ago shows she's learning that what she was taught was wrong. The IBLP is vehemently against psychology and psychiatry. Jill is seeing a therapist. People often get angry at Jill for her views on the LGBTQ, but they don't realize she's been taught that being gay. Why does she keep putting everything back onto homophobia? Why does everything come back to that? People often get angry with Jill for her views on the LGBTQ, but they don't realize she's been taught that being gay is worse sin and that's an abomination to God's design. Because of this, the cult believes that LGBTQ are beyond saving and going to hell. When you unpack how much she realized she needs to deconstruct and relearn, you realize that even though she's almost 30, she's learning concepts that children in the secular learn as adults. Deprogramming can take years and can completely alter someone's identity. People I've spoken to have said they felt their whole lives were a lie, and they hold on to some parts that they don't lose. And so someone says, so is Jill Duggar married? Does she identify as a lesbian? And she says, and KJ says no. Because she's just given the impression that Jill's, she can prove he was, but it's no one's business. This is no one's business at all. A few years ago, Justice Sewell was slammed for calling racism an evolutionary idea, totally negating, yes, Busy Bee, it is inclusive of the LGBTQ community. Yes, he does. Was slammed. The Duggars have been accused of being racist for years. Here is what I found in Wisdom Book 33 via Homeschoolers Anonymous, littered throughout the ITI curriculum, which the Duggars and Bates use for their kids, and have been promoting for years is overt racism. Bill Gothard clearly hates anyone getting civil rights other than men. He's against women's rights, LGBTQ, white rights, and he writes history about the Civil War. That's now 3. Is that 3 or 4 posts now? He claims that war was not about slavery, but states about having rights. Well, Bill, those states didn't want the government to say that they couldn't have slaves. They didn't want the government to tell them that they'd have to free their slaves and actually pay for labor. So sure, they wanted to maintain their right to be white supremacists. The Confederacy was composed of the first white supremacists in our nation's histories. White supremacy groups like the KKK spawned from the same area. Kids are taught that equal rights are bad because it's not part of God's law. The only people to have authority are apparently white men. Bill Gothard and his followers seem to be racist. The Bates and Duggars have been accused of racism over the years for a variety of beliefs, and they've said now we know where it comes from. And someone says, well, it's taught in Massachusetts. At least they say the Civil War was over more than just slavery, states' rights, etc. And then she says states' rights for slavery. So not in a long shot. Bill is furious the Confederate didn't win. That's not taught in public schools. How does she know? I don't know what's taught in public schools, but you know. Ever wondered why the Duggars and Bates are super homophobic? Yes, this is post number 4. Ever wondered why none of the kids are gay, despite the fact that, based on their family size, there would likely have at least 2 LGBTQ children each, given that LGBTQ represents about 10% of the population? What on earth is she on? Being LGBTQ in the IBLP is not allowed. Attractions to same-sex is considered a lustful temptation, which is directed by Satan. According to Bill Gothard, lust of same-sex attraction is a temptation sent by Satan to remove 3 things: rob someone of their purity, to kill their physical body through the lust of the flesh, to destroy the person's relationship with God and others. The solution to overcome these lusts is to pray for others when these thoughts come to them, and it totally works. Kids learn that if they were to act out on these feelings, they could die, ruin their relationship with God and their family, and ruin their purity. So if you are raised to believe that being gay will mean God might kill you, you'd probably be homophobic too. The twisted logic of Bill Gothard. Lexicon says the Bible supports divorce for a variety of reasons. Yes, it does support divorce for a variety of reasons. And that would be one of them. So anyway. That There's no picture. There's no mention in this picture of prayer for the saints. This is the second half. Watch and pray that you do not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh. For many years, one pastor has been instructing Christians who've been defeated by lust to pray for the salvation of a family member. It doesn't say anything about being gay in that page. Doesn't say it there. We must learn how to that's not there. There's nothing on those pages. There's nothing on those pages that I can see that even talk about being gay. So it talks about lust. Lust is between the actual Bible. I know. Now, here we go. This is interesting. Since I saw many comments that I didn't understand what was happening between Israel and Palestine, I wanted to show you why I don't support what is happening to the Palestinians. You can be supportive of the people of Israel and Palestine while not supporting the genocide that the Israeli government is committing against the Palestinians. She's walking on fine. She's really pushing it here. 47 Palestinian children were murdered yesterday by the Israeli government. Palestinians have been denied the COVID vaccine by Israeli government simply for being Palestinian. I don't believe that is true. I was reading something else today that said that actually the Palestinians have been going to Israel for their vaccines. For 50 years, the Israeli government has worked institutionally to discriminate, evict, torture, murder, and illegally detain Palestinians. Palestinians are not Hamas. To equate them to Hamas is ignorant. In the recent years, support of Hamas by Palestinians has waned. Also, stop saying the Palestinians are violent against women when the Israeli government has committed crimes against Palestinian women for years per Amnesty International. So now she's putting Amnesty. Nobody is against the Palestinians. It's the Hamas that is causing the problem. And both the Palestinians and the Israelis are speaking out against the Hamas. It's just that the Palestinians are caught up in the mess. And so for over half a century, Israel's occupation of the West Bank, including East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip, has resulted in systemic human rights violations against Palestinians living there. I know it is God's promised land. I feel the love. Depriving them of their basic human right. Israel's military rule disrupts every aspect of daily life in the occupied Palestinian territories. It continues to affect how Palestinians can travel to work, school, go abroad, visit their relatives and a living, attend protests, access their farmland, or even electricity or clean water supply. It means daily humiliation, fear, and oppression. People's entire lives are effectively held hostage by Israel. Israel has adopted a complex web of military laws to crush dissent of its policies, and senior government officials have branded Israelis advocating for Palestinian rights as traitors. I was also reading, so now she's talking about this, I was also reading that the Palestinians, particularly those who are gay, are actually going to Israel for protection, because if, for example, if you live in Palestine and you're gay, you can be put to death. But they go into Israel for hiding. So she's got this from Amnesty International. Cancel culture is unbiblical, according to Josh Duggar's former employee. I didn't realize the Bible had a chapter discussing the internet. Also, holding someone accountable for downloading, receiving CSAM is called justice via a subscriber. But Andrew, she's going against Israel because of assaults. He's a Jew. I wouldn't be going against either. To be honest with you, I wouldn't go against either side. That's why I'm more than happy to sit in the middle and talk about that the war between both of them is wrong and they need to sort it out. But I also understand that Hamas is listed by many countries as a terrorist organization, and it's mainly them that's causing the trouble. So is she happy that a terrorist group is causing this? And we had 4 posts on gay rights. Is she happy that people that are Palestinians that are gay are getting killed by the Hamas? Does that make her happy? And they're fleeing to Israel? Like, hello. If you're going to advocate for a certain population, do it properly. Just don't cherry pick what you're going to advocate for. Because she knows if she advocates and supports the gay Palestinians going to Israel, then she's supporting Israel. It doesn't work within her narrative. So she says, throwback, Jim Bob Duggar cares more about the fetus in a woman's uterus than the 18-month toddler that was in the CSAM that Josh Duggar downloaded. Now, I haven't, because I wasn't at the hearing, I haven't heard what was watched or viewed, and I don't think it's appropriate to tell people because at the moment, again, it is still all allegations, right? Imagine if they kept the same energy. The other ones that are allowed into Israel to work, I believe. Hamas is a terrorist organization in Palestine. Just recently, a high-ranking officer was executed because of gay sexuality. Well, that's what I'm saying, Carly. She did 4 posts about how the Duggars and the Bates hate gay people, even though Derek works with them in the community. Then she's saying that the Israelis are horrible people because they torture the Palestinians. But you've got the Hamas that are killing Palestinians. So imagine if they kept the same energy for unborn babies as they did for children exploited, abused, and trafficked so their pedophile son could get off. He's comparing the Holocaust to abortion. It's still only allegations at this point in time. I'd just like to add, do I think he's guilty? Yes, but there's still allegations. I can't call him anything. This is ridiculous. This lady's on the wrong side of history every single time. This is ridiculous. Jim Bob and Michelle, who don't let their kids listen to music or other hymns, rep to Anita Renfro, who is comedian and pastor. Jim Bob throws up gang signs, then type. Now, if she had listened to part 4 of I Wish You Put This Journal Away, he talks about Jana listening to a contemporary Christian artist, which totally blows this comment out of the water. She says, this is Jim Bob and Michelle who don't let their kids listen to music other than hymns. Well, he talks about how this Christian singer was a crossover singer. Hello, Josh, and would sing secular songs as well as secular songs and Christian songs that weren't hymns. So if she'd listened to part 4 of the podcast, she would know that. Who said that they'd listened to part 4 of the podcast? Was it Busy? Was it you, Busy Bee? Yes, Busy Bee. Can you confirm that that's what he said? Because I'm sure he said that Jana said that this particular artist was her favorite artist, and he was a contemporary Christian artist. He did, Joe. I looked up the piece of music Jana played on the piano. It was lovely. Yes. She wouldn't see Christian music as anything other but church allowed, yeah. And then she says hypocrites. So, what I'm saying is if she had listened to part 4 of the podcast, she would know that this is wrong. Can you imagine being friends with her? Her negative attitude is what she does is not advocacy. It's anti-speech. Correct, usually. Yes, Chris Rice. Chris Rice is a contemporary Christian artist. Now, who am I going to believe? A guy who grew up in that and knew the Duggars, or KJ? And she doubled this one. My children aren't allowed to dance or listen to music other than him spinning and bopping his head with Anita Renfro, who's a pastor and comedian. So Jana like Chris Rice, contemporary Christian artist. What the heck? Who the heck runs this blog? It's not run by the Duggars. I know it's a fan. But how are they going to be sad? That Josh won't be able to see his children? That's a good thing. These children should not be near a pedophile that has already proven that assault family. We pray for mercy for Josh. What about the children that were victimized, trafficked, and exploited in the CSAM? Their answer, we won't post about Josh and Anna anymore. Duggar fans are literally so tone deaf and ignorant, I can't. All these so-called Christians don't give a poo about the victims. Josh deserves no prayers. Jim and Michelle and their cover-up of his crimes deserve no prayers. All of the Duggars enablers are fake Christians. The Christians I know are demanding justice for the victims and praying that Josh rots in prison. But there are sisters involved who are innocent. I love Anita Renfro. She would treat all people like people and denounce behaviours, not the group that holds these beliefs. Correct, Sarah loves donuts. There are other family members who are innocent in this as well. You've got the little ones. The youngest Duggar kids, Michelle's. They're innocent in this. Why should they be punished for their big brother's crimes? Josh's kids, why should they be punished for their father's crimes? And how is she going to make her money when the Duggars are off? For the past 2 days, I have shown you what the Duggars and the Bates taught their children through the ATI wisdom books. I showed you the sexism, victim blaming, racism, homophobia, the detailed discussions about sex, marriage, and that this curriculum contains. How children are taught that God will kill them if they are gay, gets divorced or sin. I actually haven't seen that. I actually sat there and read every single page, and I have not seen that. I have shown you how to preserve the cult, how perverse the cult is about sex and sodomy. I've outlined how our victims are told they must cry out or it's their fault. I've shown you the revisionist and racist history they teach. Since 2004, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar have had one goal: to recruit you to join the cult. They have promoted the cult events on social media every single year. They encourage their viewers and fans to purchase cult books, videos, and 10 seminars. They've asked families that are not wealthy to skip their family vacation and instead spend money on cult events. For almost 2 decades, the Duggars Bates have been lying, deceiving, and grooming their fans to join their cult. I tell you what, if we turned the word cult into a drinking game, we'd be plastered by now. Well, we've only been going for half an hour. They have made the average American feel less than inferior and judged because they can't measure up. The Duggars and Bates are hypocrites that don't even live by the principles they espouse. They've done all of it to make money, profit off you, and recruit you into their cult. So have you, KJ. I'd love to see what kind of kickbacks the Duggars receive from the IBLP for this work. The Duggars and Bates are frauds, in my opinion, and anyone that has taken time to read what I said should see how harmful their cult is. I've only seen how harmful the cult of KJ is, to be honest. I read that book, and if you remember my Discord, I actually put up a sample of their book. Please don't think that I am defending them. I'm not defending them. I think some of their beliefs are pretty weird and wacky, but the material that she showed as evidence, unless I totally... I could not make what she had shown to say what she said it was. It talked about lust, but nowhere on that page on lust was there anything about having lust of somebody with the same sex. She's made implications, and that's where it's wrong. Oh, Busy Bee, her live, Catholic Church. Thanks to a sub for reminding me of this. When the Bates got their 8-part special, The United Bates of America, they brought viewers to tour their home, proudly displayed on their daughter's room with photos of 2 Confederate generals, Thomas Stonewall Jackson and Nathan Bedford Forrest. Nathan Bedford Forrest was the Grand Wizard in the KKK. Thomas Stonewall Jackson owned 6 slaves and was the esteemed general working alongside Robert E. Lee. While both white men supremacists, the Bates proudly had photos next to a God Bless America sign. The IPLP is known for their racist teachings, anger that the Confederacy lost, and they don't like the civil rights movement. Most of KJ dialogue is projected of who she really is as a person. So anyway, that was Instagram today. I will encourage you to go and have a look at her Instagram posts, particularly where she outlines this is what they teach, because I'd like to see what your interpretation of it is. Maybe I've interpreted. I'm happy if you come back to me and say, you know what, Joanne, she was right with her interpretation. I think you were wrong. I would take that. But I tried really hard, particularly on the one where she's saying that and they can't get divorced and all of that sort of stuff. I can't see it in the material that she presented. Maybe it's because I know the Bible, so maybe when I read the verse of the Bible that's quoted, I know what the interpretation means. Maybe that's why. But I don't know. I can't. But please, if you discover that her interpretation's correct and I'm wrong, please tell me. Please let me know, because I really do want to know. If she went against the Jewish faith or Muslim faith, she'd be hunted down. All right. So as I said, I'd just really like to know if I am wrong. So anybody out there, if you're watching and you can access her Instagram, if you can show me where I've wrong or if I've misread something, please let me know, because I really want to do this accurately. And so when I say to you that the statement she made that I can't find, I generally can't see it. Again, I may have my own blinkers on. We tend to look for things. We can tend to read things with our own blinkers. We can tend to read things with our own set of blinkers on from content. Thank you, Totally Clueless. As I said, if I'm wrong, please let me know. And we all know that you can make whatever, particularly scripture, you can twist scripture to justify whatever you want it to, unfortunately. And again, that's where the blinkers is. Denominations to bit things, but I don't think she correct. Yeah. Well, now what's interesting, so we saw what her view was on Twitter, but this is the interesting thing is, on Instagram. This is the interesting thing is she does a complete 360 or 180 or whatever it is. And gives the opposing view on Twitter. So she's saying one thing on Twitter, another thing on Instagram. And so people say, why do you spend your time on KJ? Because she has so many inconsistencies. I just want the truth from her. And you can't go on one platform and say something's an apple and then go and on another platform and say, well, no, it's an orange. You can't do that. If you're going to stick to a story, you've got to stick on it completely. Unless she's deleted it. So, I'll tell you, this is like tiring. Hello, the Queen of Roblox. Okay, so her first post of the day was Free Palestine. That was her first post of the day. You do realize how bad that country is. I stand with Israel as a Jewish American. Oh, thank you, Queen of Robots. Yeah, that's a really interesting case because the ABC, to win their defamation, actually has to show proof, and if they show proof, there may be more charges. It's going to be a very interesting one. I believe about what she's saying about this so-called cult. I just don't see it in her so-called proof that it's what the Duggars like. Correct with whispers. I have no doubt that it's a cult. I have no doubt that some of their beliefs are very bizarre and wacky and dangerous. I don't doubt that at all. But there was 4 posts about how homophobic they were, and there was nothing in the material that stated anything about homophobia or anything about gay people. Now, even if they had said marriage was between, I know that's all right. Even if they said marriage was between a man and a woman, that's their belief system. But that doesn't mean that, because, that doesn't mean that you're against something. Need to get me there. Oh, that would be amazing. 121K. So now this is where we got interesting. She's retweeted this, and this is from Deaf Noodles, adding this here as well. Anti-Semitism should be also condemned. Hamas, the Palestine people deserve better than to be led by terrorists. So here is her. So remember her Instagram. She was talking about how what meant is I've seen one Baptist church which in a very wacky way, not all, that is wrong. And it says, Israel helped Gaza through the pandemic with medical supplies, transports of vaccine and medical treatment of Palestinians in Israel hospitals. Hamas. So she's retweeted this, which is a totally different story. Hamas is terrorizing the Palestinian population while Israel is helping the people of Gaza spread the truth. So free Palestine from the Hamas. So this is now it's the complete opposite of what she said on Instagram, because she was saying that Israel was all at fault, but it says she's retweeted free Palestine from the Hamas. The Palestinian people deserve better than to be led by terrorists. Oh, no, not again. Really? Oh, no, rescue lady. I can't deal. I just can't deal with it. Is she up early today? Well, she'll be here soon. I'll say hello to her in a minute. But you see what I mean about her inconsistencies? Like, why? They've got nothing here at the moment. Maybe it's Instagram. But then she's got Keemstar. Then she's on Keemstar and Ethan Klein. Keemstar is racist. His account's on YouTube. I wouldn't go after Keemstar anything either. So I'm just going to redo this one and see what happens. Not that I can see, but that doesn't mean that she's not up. And the only good thing is I missed the start. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. The only good thing is I missed the start of her live when she was talking about her symptoms from her pain from her vaccine. So I missed all of that, at least. She has nothing on. I keep saying this, but there's something mentally wrong. It's just bizarre, isn't it? The way is easy. She got called, and he's covering her butt. True. Keemstar will sue her for defamation. Well, that's going to be an interesting one. I think she's posting what's popular at the moment. I don't think she ever really looked into anything about Hamas. She's just talking out of her butt. And that's why it's dangerous. And that is why it's dangerous. She has got people there that are following her every move, that are saying, thank you for educating. Like, if you looked at her, if we went down and looked at the comments, you'll have people just say, thank you for educating me on this topic. And it's like, she's not educating you. She's not educating you. People, wake up. Do your own research. Yes, I'm getting very heated. I would be horrified if everybody took what I said as gospel. I would be horrified. I want you to call me out if I say something wrong. I want you to tell me, no, Jo, you are wrong. I want you to say, hey, no, that's changed. Most of what I say, I grab from reputable news agencies, and I show you I show you from the source. I show you the source and say, this is what this article is reporting. And I research, and I have to say I am very clever, because half the time, a lot of the comments come from you guys, the audience. I just ask the question. I will ask a question and leave you to give me the answer. Hello, Phoenix Reborn. I put the ball into your court, so you answer the question. We can learn from each other. I don't think twice about anything you say, because it's obviously, oh, thank you, Busy Bee. But I do want you. I remember that we had a preacher from the pulpit that said, one of the worst things that you can do is assume that the person up here preaching is telling you the truth. Don't ever assume that you are being told the truth. Search out and investigate for yourself, and I always do. That's why I'm known for. I have a big notebook that I take to church with my church notes, and I have often said, "I've got questions." I've always interpreted, so it leads for discussions, because we all read things differently. We have a different worldview. So I might think something is this way, and you might think something is that way. So the fact that I'm an Australian and you are from a different country gives us different perspectives on things. My perspective on something is totally different to your perspective on something. It is a pretty polarizing topic, T-Rex, and that's why you have to be really careful. That's why you've got to be really careful. The way that I view COVID is different to how you might view COVID, but I can't judge the way that you view COVID, and you can't judge me the way that I view COVID. Scripture says to search the word of God for your own understanding. And yes, correct, Kim. You do have a way of getting us to use Google and look things up. I do in whispers, don't I? Let's all turn to Google search. In our Google search, let's type. Or I do it on the screen. I want you to see. This is why, I like it. For me, it's called accountability. If we're going to look something up on Google, let's do it together. You can see it. I think that's at least my responsibility, to show accountability. And as I said, if you don't agree with something, you have every right to say, I don't agree. The Bible tells us to rely on the Holy Spirit to teach us things, and he won't teach different people differently. Correct, Pugs and Pizza. Does anyone, when she found out Keem said he supported her for 5 minutes, she was loving it? Yes, she did. We are free to discuss easily here without worrying in case we say that. And that's great, Busy Bee. And that's what I want it to be. And, that's how I want it to be. All right. So let's now go into this. I'm going to speed it up. She goes after the Catholic Church again, and she retells the Catholic story, her Catholic Church story again. And there are, if you watched the other day when she told the Church, the story of the father with the busy hands, there's a slight variation in this retelling. So see if you can pick up what the variation is. I remember I did some work. I know that I did some work for a lawyer once, and I was remembering all these documents, and he goes, you remember, like, I can remember the most pointless bits of information, but I can't remember anything important. Like, and I knew, like, I can remember stuff that she said, and then I have to go back and find it. But yeah, so there is an inconsistency. It is getting old, Busy Bee. It is getting old. So my first question is, why does she, so she's laying in bed. Apparently she's just told everybody she's got a fever and she's got pain in her arm. But I want to know, first of all, why does she have to wear a hat in bed? Well, time to sleep on my hearing ear again. Oh, I tell you. And I don't understand why she has to wear a hat. So, and unfortunately, I've only caught her mid-rant. So,
so boring because all they did was read the Bible. And literally, that was it. There was masses like forever too, and you have to like kneel and sit and stand and sing and hymns, and like it's so boring.
So she's talking about church here. Bedhead. Where did the top of her head go? I don't know, Rick. I was actually wondering whether she didn't have the needle in her head. I don't know. So she's been doing a rant on church. And there's some, it's interesting. What's really interesting is the stuff that she remembers versus the stuff she doesn't remember. And that rings some really big alarm bells for me. But anyway, we'll see.
Yeah. No, we never read the Bible.
You never read. Well, that explains. If she says they never read the Bible, that explains everything.
And catechism, oh my gosh, that's a whole nother, like the catechism workbooks, y'all. The catechism workbooks. Does anyone remember the catechism workbooks? I do. Oh my God, the catechism workbooks. They were so boring. We did not have Sunday school at my Catholic church at all. They did catechism, no Sunday school. Yes. So the only time you learn about anything in the church and Catholic church is during communion when you have a sacrament coming up. So you go to like your communion class, like you have your communion stuff, so you learn about those. You have your confessional stuff, so you learn about that. But then on the years that you have you have Wednesday night religion. It's called catechism. It's called CCD.
So anyway, so now she's talking here, but anyway.
So we had to memorize the Our Father, and we had to memorize the Hail Mary, which is the only thing that Catholics do.
They are fighting over the Temple Mount, Kim, which Revelation believes that is going to be owned back by the Israelis before Jesus returns. I thought she went to church as a child, and those workbooks are based off information from the Bible. She's talking about stuff from grade 1 to 9. Hasn't she said before she's comparing Bible verses to Douglas Church and stuff, that what she remembered? Yes. Well, if what I've seen on her Instagram is her interpretation of the Bible, I'd like to know what she's read.
That's completely different because for some reason we totally worship Mary, which I never understood. I was always like, why are we worshiping Mary? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And then you learn, I don't even feel like I really learned the rosary. And then, yes, super into the 10 Commandments, like obsessed with the 10 Commandments for some reason. Yes, I'm confirmed. I went all the way through confirmation. But I don't remember in the years that, so I feel like, okay, I think my first communion was when I was in like first grade. Oh God. You don't worship Mary? My grandma worshiped Mary. My grandma was always praying to Mary. Always. Well, okay, fine. Like honoring Mary. But to me, it felt like worship. Like some people in my church at least took the Mary love very far. I feel like my grandma was obsessed. I don't even remember who my confirmation saint was, honestly. I black out at that time of my life.
We do not worship Mary, we venerate her. I'm telling you, Jesus coming back in the Bible is almost fulfilled. It makes me upset that she's mocking having faith in God. I think that's the thing that upsets me the most, is that, yeah. I'm glad you're talking about this. I feel like I'm getting educated on Catholic beliefs. Or whoever you are, don't look at her to go be educated by Catholic beliefs. You're awake and mad, GTA? I'm sorry about that. I've never seen anyone. Hello, Sarah. I've never seen anyone obsessed with like KJ. I think she was that weirdo at school that had no friends and thinks she's a superstar influencer. My mum was raised Catholic in a Catholic orphanage, very bad. Married at 17, and then Jehovah's Witnesses till they divorced. I was 6. No church after those bad experiences, but we read the Bible. Does she know? Oh dear. Yeah. Look, some people get badly hurt by the church, but you got to remember it's the people in the church. Churches are filled with people that are human, that are going to fail, that are going to hurt people. You know nothing about religion. Catholics don't worship Mary. Also, the Hail Mary prayer and our Father prayer are not the only prayers Catholics say. I'm not even Catholic and I know this. I think she talks about the rosaries here too.
My confirmation was in 9th grade. Yeah, my grandma was obsessed with Mary. Like, my grandma was always doing the Hail Marys. So when I say, like worship Mary, it just, like, I feel like an undue influence was given to her. Does that mean that we're super, like, worshiping her? No, maybe I'm not using the right words. I'm sorry.
Yes, she apologizes. She apologizes. I'm sorry, she says. And that's true too. Hurt people are going to hurt people, correct. And the church should be filled with hurt people who need healing. Well, it should be filled with, but yeah. That's all right. Wait till you get to the bit where she starts talking about she believes more of the Jewish faith than the Catholic faith. And then I wonder if her mother listens to this. Haha, Joe, your voice was so calm and I fell asleep. Just wake up when Rick asked, where is her head? In case she... So it's Rick's fault you're awake. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Because then she talks about the Jewish faith, which then totally questions why she's written what she's written. Exactly. The people in the church are bad. The church can be bad. God isn't. I always say to people, if... and I said this just recently to someone who was hurt by somebody in my church. And I said, well, go find another church then. Why should God get the blame because somebody's hurt you, But anyway, she believes in the Jewish. Does she know that? Really? I can't stand when she goes off on religion. She's completely offensive. It's clear she hates anything to do with the church and considers it a cult. Yeah, she just apologized. It's always everything's Rick's fault.
Does that mean that we're super, like, worshiping her? No, maybe I'm not using the right words. I'm sorry.
There you go.
But yeah, I got at my church, we got confirmed in 9th grade. I don't remember what I picked for my confirmation name, honestly. But my grandmother was super into Mary. Like, I have so many rosaries. She passed away, like, I don't even know, 5 years ago. And I have all of her rosaries. She had a Mary statue. She always had Mary everywhere. She had a painting of Mary in her house. She had a painting of Mary. She had Mary with baby Jesus. She had statues of Mary. My grandma loved Mary.
Oh, no, Mary was with the baby Jesus. Well, maybe because Mary was the mother of baby Jesus. So someone says, we do not worship Mother Mary. She's the mother of Jesus. We have readings every Sunday from the Bible, one reading from the Old Testament and one from the New Testament. Jeez. All those rosaries. Now, I can't even comment because I don't know. I think I went to a Catholic. I've been to a mass once. Isn't there one for each saint? And I didn't understand any of it. And the person that I was with was Catholic and got really annoyed because I kept asking questions. So I didn't understand any of it, and and that's fine. From Doomsday Camp.
I don't remember what my confirmation name was. Honestly, I honestly don't remember. I know we had a retreat at the Catholic, some sort of Catholic charities house in Minneapolis, like in South Minneapolis. And I went to, my class for confirmation was taught in a house, somebody's mom that was my age. Her mom was our teacher. And it was in Shoreview, Minnesota. That's all I remember.
She remembers all of that, but not her confirmation name. My auntie's Catholic and Christian. She turns both and has the Swedish stuff. I once went to a Catholic funeral mass. I've been to one Catholic wedding, that's it. I remember how long it lasted. And it went for like 2 hours. And I'm going, no way. Should hate my mouse. Have a thing for biblical pictures and figures. Her confirmation name was Poor Elizabeth. Her 15 rosaries. She has said that, Christy. Oh.
I have some of my grandma's statues in my basement. My grandma was the kind of Catholic that literally went to mass every single day.
So can someone understand someone explain to Strasky what a confirmation is? Hello, I don't understand it much either, but people allowed their beliefs. I grew up in a primary Southern Baptist area. Isn't it usually one of the mothers? If I talk, I'm going to talk out of turn. So someone says all religions are a form of control invented by some obscure guys centuries ago. I was the church organist for years, so my Catholic faith is important for me. So how do you get Rick, I think you get a lesson on religion here too. In Minnesota. Oh, it's a saint, isn't it? Yeah, you choose the name of a saint to get confirmed as. That's right, it's a saint. That's what I thought it was. And then I thought, no, it's a saint. So there, Mary, Teresa, is there Bernadette? Yeah.
My grandma literally played, my grandma was obsessed with Mary. She loved Mary. Minnesota is heavily Catholic and heavily Lutheran. So you're either Lutheran or Catholic for the most part here. Not a lot of Methodists, not a lot of Baptists here.
So there you go. You heard it here. You're either Catholic or you're Lutheran. So what are you, Rick? She doesn't say how many atheists there are either.
Mostly Lutheran and Catholic. I bet if I went to my parents' house, I could probably find my confirmation stuff, but it's probably my mom's basement. I honestly don't remember. I kind of feel like I blacked out confirmation because the year we got confirmed, the year I got confirmed, I think it was 94. Yeah, 94. And there had been some huge changes in the bishops, and a bunch of bishops had left. And now thinking back, and I'm assuming some of the bishops probably were abusing children and were moved to different parts of the country. But
there you go. Girl, grew up Catholic, but never went to church except weddings, funerals, but we did the CC classes and communion confirmation stuff. I remember my name I picked and my grandma was my sponsor. She doesn't pay much attention to George Floyd murders affected her entire state, but knows the religious demographics of her state. Every girl in my family has Mary or Marie as a middle name. That's interesting. I was baptized as Lutheran and my mum taught me Methodist church. She hasn't heard of Protestant. Practice the hate stuff. We have family members who are gay and we never judge them. Did she say around 16? She said year 9, was that right? Year 9? Churches and religions can be so toxic.
They had a lack of bishops, and so the bishops were supposed to do your confirmation, and our church didn't have a bishop, and so they consolidated a bunch of different churches and did confirmation at the cathedral in St. Paul. So it was weird because we didn't get confirmed at the church that we grew up in. So I was confirmed at the cathedral in St. Paul. And it was a really weird confirmation. Like, the bishop was someone we'd never met before, never seen before. So imagine you, like, go your whole life to a church and, like, your priest is someone you know, and then, like...
So someone says here, I learn a lot from Katie. I was 14 when I was confirmed, but it's younger now. 6'2", same here. Never heard of this. No. Did I see Pia here before? Because I read somewhere that Frederick and Mary's son, he got confirmed. He's 15, and I think they're Lutheran, aren't they? Pia, he got confirmed. Yes. Oh, there you go. You're here. All first girls get Marie when we have confirmation. Tradition goes by. I was reading somewhere that he had his confirmation, and he was just turned 15. But are the royal family Pia Lutheran? Because we know the British Royal Family Church of England. So just... Yes, he got confirmed yesterday. See? I read. I was so excited. I was confirmed when I was 12, Lutheran. All right. Yeah. So they are Lutheran. The Frederick, because I remember when Mary moved to Denmark, she was actually Catholic, and she actually had to renounce her Catholic faith and be baptized in the Lutheran Church. She had to go through all of the confirmation and stuff before she could get even to be engaged to Frederick. That was part of the transition. He's right. So UK, they're about... Thanks for playing these. I can't bring myself to watch anything she puts up. Well, when she talked about before all bishops or bishops probably abuse children, I actually was going down my staircase, and I was so like fired up at that time. I actually fell down the stairs. Yes, it was supposed, but due to COVID, got postponed. Anyway, he seems to be a very handsome young man, and they were very proud parents anyway. But yes, so he was the Denmark Prince Christian. Prince Christian was confirmed yesterday. He's also future king as well.
Someone you know, and then like you don't have a bishop and you go to the cathedral and then you've never met this guy before, and he's so different than your priest, like super different. Like my whole confirmation, all he did was talk about the downfall of society. And he said that children, like, yes, we had a massive priest issue in Minnesota.
Someone says, so Katie, did you have a white wedding dress with the veil for your first communion? Actually, that was recruit first. Me, sorry. So I belong to Salvation Army, and we have like little membership stuff that we do too. And it wasn't unusual for us to all, we call it confirmation, we call it enrolled, in a big group to settings. But anyway, so, but yeah, I just don't like the generalization that all bishops or the bishops probably got moved because they abused children. In the Salvation Army, most ministers, or they call are moved every 5 years, between 3 and 5 years. Why? Because they don't want them to get complacent. I've watched Frederick Mary's wedding on YouTube. I don't know how many. I know it was a beautiful wedding, wasn't it? Mental block. The oldest daughter turned around as was sassy and asked her mum, "Are you out of it?" I was supposed to go with grandma. It's funny to see them being normal. That's so funny. Yeah. Most bishops' homilies for communion masses are about young people becoming members for the church and how God has planned for everyone born.
massive priest issue in Minnesota. Yeah, I just said a bishop always does confirmation, but we didn't have a bishop at our church. So they didn't have enough bishops. So they consolidated a bunch of churches together at the cathedral because the cathedral had a bishop. And our church didn't have a bishop because they didn't have enough bishops in our archdiocese at the time. I'm not lying. And so the cathedral in St. Paul's.
Why does she always say, I know I'm not lying? Why do you have to say that? If you want people to doubt you, say I'm not lying. Minnesota also has a massive cathedral.
Gorgeous, but it's also very old and it's also very big. They didn't have enough bishops to even go to churches to do confirmation. So this person, Carly, whatever, is just...
No, Crystal. The boy that was confirmed is the Prince of Denmark. But his mother's Australian. Crystal. So, yeah. You seem short of breath today. Are you okay? Sometimes I have to tune it. Yeah, I am still a little bit of short of breath. I actually had my infusion today, and last time I had a reaction to the iron, and today I had a reaction to the iron again where I got breathless. And they actually got so concerned, they actually hooked me up to monitors and were monitoring me for a little while because, anyway, but it's just to do with the cold. I think they just think it's because I've got a cold and it's sitting on my lungs, that it's just aggravated everything. That was my question, Poppy Seeds. How does she remember all this detail but not her confirmation name? That's been my question all along. I know she's trying to convince herself she's not lying. She'll even tell you, shortly she'll even tell you what the sermon was on, but she doesn't remember her confirmation name.
Just trying to be a troll here. All I know is the year. Well, there's more than one bishop, though, in our diocese, and they didn't have enough bishops. That's why it happened this way, because I'm not lying. Like, I swear. Do you guys think I'm lying? Honestly, I want to ask you, why would I sit here and literally tell you what happened in my life? Do you think I'm lying? I'm not lying. The year.
That in itself, like, I'm going, if you have to tell people that you're not lying, well, are you? One of her subs said most churches don't have bishops. They only have priests. Yes, she is.
Year that we got confirmed, there was something going on in our diocese, and there was not enough bishops to cover the confirmations. And so instead of the bishops going to the different churches for confirmation, they consolidated churches and had us all go to the cathedral. And it wasn't typical because my brother got confirmed at our church.
She's lying because she knows some details that are not important, but she doesn't know the important things. What is she talking about? Enough bishops? There's usually only one bishop per certain diocese that consists of an area that you live in and go to church. Oh, really, Julie? That's interesting. See, again, I don't really know any of this, but to me, going to a church and doing a group at once, that seemed plausible to me. But I don't know why each church would have a bishop. No, they would just say, someone was just saying it depends on the size of the diocese, how many bishops. So, and then someone says, no, you are telling it like it is always. So they just, yeah, they do. Yeah, as I said,
So when my brother got confirmed, he got confirmed at our church. I don't know.
No, Katie, I know you tell the truth. I don't think you're lying. I understand. You have such a good memory. But she doesn't remember her confirmation name.
Well, no, of course it's not abnormal for bishops and priests to move around. I mean, nobody said that either. So when my brother got confirmed, I think my brother got confirmed in like 1989 or 88. And I remember his confirmation because we went to this church called St. John the Baptist, and it was in New Brighton.
Someone says, just because Katie has a different experience than you doesn't mean that she's lying or wrong. Everyone has a different experience, and each place of worship can be different, even in the same religion. Jeez.
And we went to our church for his confirmation. And then when we got all the way through confirmation, they basically told us at the very end that we weren't getting confirmed at our church. And people were really upset because we were like expecting that we were going to go to our church where our priests would be. Because even though the bishop does confirmation, we would have expected that our priest would have been there. But when we went, it was a bishop none of us knew. And it was in a church none of us went to. And there was all these other churches together where we didn't know half the kids that were being confirmed with us. Yeah.
Someone says, I'm an atheist. I couldn't tell you the difference between a priest, the bishop, etc. I think religion is made up. So her brother is younger, right? I thought he was older. I thought her brother was older, Pia. It is normal for bishops and priests. But before she said they only moved around because they committed SA. And don't forget, I want you to pick up. Oh, I didn't see the eyebrows. I hadn't picked that up. Camouflage, but so loud. Some went even Catholic because I was confirmed at 13, and that was in 93. I still, when she tells the story about Father Mike, tell me, this is a competition. Tell me what is different from tonight's version of the story to the other version of the story that she told the other night.
Maybe a cardinal did ours. I don't honestly remember.
I'm older.
All I know is I sat with my sponsor. So did you guys have a sponsor? I had my sponsor next to me, and she was from my church. And the bishop, all he did was talk about kids having premarital sex, drinking, and doing drugs. That's literally all he talked about for the entire confirmation. I sat in my confirmation crying the whole time because I thought I was going to hell the whole time. Because I was like, oh my God, he thinks all kids are terrible human beings. I thought it was weird because with all the time we had spent a year going through all of these classes and doing all of these like retreats and conferences, and then we finally get to the big day.
So she cried right through her confirmation, but she doesn't remember her name, and she remembers the sermon. Can someone make this make sense? I just remember the confirmation money. She remembers that, by the way, too. Yes, poppy seeds.
The sermon was literally, because I remembered the sermon because it had nothing to do with our confirmation. Like, I imagined it would be this like rite of passage, right? Like, we would be like, you are now adults. And all they did was talk about how kids have too much sex, and all these girls are having babies, and everyone's drinking, and everyone's smoking, and everyone's doing drugs. Well, the priest that was part of my confirmation, his name was Father Mike, and he actually ended up getting moved to another church the very next year. So I went to confirmation, and then like the next year, I didn't go to church very much after I got.
Right. So remember, we want to find out what is different in tonight's story about Father Mike to last night's story about Father Mike, or the night before story. I can't remember. But the last time she talked about Father Mike, she told this story. This version is different to the last version she told. I want to see whether you can pick it up.
I remember it because I stopped going to church after the confirmation service. I was like, Mom, that priest was crazy, or that bishop was crazy. Like, I don't want to do this. And my mom didn't really like force me to go. Anyways, I didn't want to go. And so maybe that next year, my sponsor invited me to go to church with her. And I was like, sure, I'll go. Yeah, no problem. And we get to church, and Mike was gone. Father Mike was gone. And I was like, where's Mike? And they're all like, no one could tell us where Father Mike went. This is the same guy that on a retreat, he wanted us to go into the basement room of a mansion in the dark and confess to him while sitting on a couch. So weird, right? I was like, this is so weird. And
now, did you pick up did you pick up the different version this time? It was in that she just said it. All she needs to say is, I did church until confirmation and was open-minded, but that ain't for me. That's all she's got to say. Did you pick it up? Do I need to play it again? I was raised Catholic too, but I remember having issues where I was treated when I was a little girl. after, because they go through motions and then that's it. It's literally normal. So have a listen. It's the Pastor Mike story.
This is the same guy that on a retreat, he wanted us to go into the basement room of a mansion in the dark and confess to him while sitting on a couch. So weird, right?
The story she told the last time, when, you know, I did the 4 Instagrams in a row. In that version, she said they were taken into the room, made to sit on the couch, and the lights were turned off. Now she's saying that he wanted them to go into the room. She doesn't say here that it happened. Because then she said, then she found out in the other video that one of the children, yes, and it was inside the church last time, Wind Whispers, yes. Now it's a retreat home as well. So, yeah. But she says he wanted us to go into the basement. The last story, she said he took them into the basement.
Gone. Father Mike was gone. And I was like, where's Mike? And they're all like, anyways.
Oh, but
so I didn't want to go. And
it was a mansion in the basement before? Okay. It may have been. Yeah. But the fact is, it's like, yes, the bishop's, she's lying on this American fashion. The part is that she's gone from you were asking, sorry. That's what I'm not quite sure, but it was a basement room. She talked about a basement room in the last thing and him turning off the lights and they're all sitting in the dark talking about confession, but in this one she's saying that he wanted them. Or is that just like Dean?
So maybe that next year, my sponsor invited me to go to church with her, and I was like, sure, I'll go. Yeah, no problem. And we get to church, and Mike was gone. Father Mike was gone. And I was like, where's Mike? And they're all like, no one could tell us where Father Mike went. This is the same guy that on a retreat, he wanted us to go into the basement room of a mansion in the dark and confess to him while sitting on a couch. So weird, right? I was like, this is so weird.
Because she said they were all sat on the room, and he was sitting on the couch, and they were all squashed in together. Maybe that's Dean. Maybe she's got Father Mike and Dean. I don't know.
And he ended up being, so I don't even know what year it was. There was a massive scandal here in Minnesota, like there was around the country with the different dioceses with priests and molesting.
The way she talks about Minnesota, there just seems to be so much stuff going, like a scandal in Minnesota. Minnesota has a scandal. This is another scandal. And it's like, what's wrong with Minnesota? There's always a scandal there. Oh, by the way, I watched that episode yesterday. It was like listening to KJ stories. Yes, Pia, it was like listening. Well, actually, yeah. So it was in those 4 that the Father Mike, Dean turned out normal. I still don't believe anything. The Minnesota and the Minnesotan scandals. What is wrong with Minnesota? This is so many scandals. I think there was a big problem. It's cold in Minnesota. Freezes. Oh, that's why she's wearing the hat, is it?
Stations and rape and so forth. Well, there's a website that I don't know if it's like a nonprofit that's doing it or if it's just like a watchdog that has housed all of the priests that have been accused or moved around for, because like our diocese had to release like the names of all of the priests that had been accused of molesting or raping children. And so when our diocese released that, it all got input into this website. And so my mom and I went to go look over there. And sure enough, Father Mike was on the list. And he had been removed that year because he had been caught molesting a boy in my confirmation class. Yeah. And they never told us. They never told.
I thought she said it was a girl in her full. I thought she said it was a girl in the last live she did. There was definitely abuse in Catholic Church, but it wasn't every single priest. Maybe she's wearing a hat so she doesn't play with her hair. I'm sure in that series of 4 Instagram lives, she said it was a girl. a girl from the confirmation class that was in the basement in the dark, and he was sitting next to her. But as I said, I remember all of those types of stuff, but I can't remember. Well, at least she hasn't said cult like every 5 seconds like she did on Instagram. How would she know if it was a kid in her confirmation class? That wouldn't have been on a website. That is a very good point, Poppy Seeds. An excellent point. She wouldn't have. Some churches, I think she's claiming that it was her church that was involved. Yeah. Look, Australia's just gone through, they did a big Royal Commission into child SA in organisations, and it wasn't just religious organisations, it was state organisations, state-run organisations, it was government organisations. This is where the Gymnastics Australia reviews come out of, and there was systemic CA in right across the board, and essentially every organisation that is involved with children have had to change their whole processes. And a lot of churches did get a lot of heat. The one that I attend, not my church personally, but the organisation or the branch of the Salvation Army in Australia got a lot of heat. They've had some people go to jail. But does that mean that everybody is bad? No. Does it mean that every Catholic priest is bad? No. Does it mean that every Anglican priest is bad? No. You can't put everybody in the same box. At the end of the day, everybody has to make a choice. They make a decision in their life. I don't believe so, Poppy. Is there a way to see if specific churches had complaints here? No. I believe the Royal Commission did it by organisations. You can find out organisations that had complaints through the Royal Commission report, but I don't believe that you can find out specific churches. But, I mean, everyone from the Scouts to children's homes run by governments, to churches, all across the board were put under scrutiny. But there's a website, but no personal details. The priest's names are given, but I believe they should be. They're pedophiles. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't believe so, Poppy. But I tell you what, I might look into that, see if there is a website. But I know the Royal Commission in Australia did do that. There are scandals everywhere, but it doesn't make every religion bad. Yeah. But then, Sweet Tea, in Australia, there were organisations not related to religion that were run by governments that were also they're also now doing a Royal Commission into aged care facilities. Some of those are government run, some of those are church run, some of those are privately owned by corporations. So, I mean, I know that one of the ones that had one of the biggest COVID outbreaks was run by the Greek Orthodox Church. That has been criticised. Wasn't that around the time the Pope signed a list of names? I don't know, Wind Whispers. But, just because one church organisation, runs their home incorrectly doesn't mean that they all do. Anyway. But I don't believe that there is in Australia anyway.
Told us. And I was like, and then they sent him to Arizona where he was a priest, and they just kept moving him around. And then my mom was like, well, my mom went to Catholic high school, and my mom went to Catholic school for her life until she was in her junior year of high school, and then her dad pulled her out. Yeah. And then my mom found her principal. My mom found her damn principal on the list. And then my mom found my grandma's favorite priest. That my grandma was one of those moms, one of those Catholic moms that was hobnobbing all the time with the priest and would always bring the priest over to the house to put her kids in line. And so my mom would always say that the priests would always come over for dinner. And the priests that my grandma would always invite over, yeah, they were on the list too. I don't don't know any good priests because all the priests that have been involved in my life have problems with sexual assault, apparently. So that kind of turned me off.
There you go. She doesn't know any good priests. And then one of her stands says, "Oh, this is so scary." You know, for someone who claims to be an SA victim, she sure gets giddy when she talks about. I know she does, Ray Ray. It's very scary, isn't it? Sounds like you dodged multiple bullets.
So no, but technically I haven't left the church. Like, I guess I'd have to send I think I'd have to send something to the archdiocese to have my name taken off their membership list or whatever. My grandma died like, I don't even know, 5 years ago. She was so old, she probably didn't care. She was 98. She couldn't remember a lot of things before she died.
Yes, I did speed it up, GTA. No, I sped it up. It's on 1.5. So, yeah, there is a trend, Jennifer. Every nurse, every home nurse that they've ever had is bad. Every priest has been bad.
She couldn't remember a lot of things before she died. No, my brother was not abused, thankfully. I think my brother didn't have the same priest for his confirmation. Like, he was, so this Father Mike was new to our congregation, or new to our parish. I have watched The Keepers. They do. It's not a membership list. When you become a Catholic and you get confirmed, your name literally goes into their database. I'm not lying. They have a list of everyone that has been confirmed, has gone through the sacraments. The archdiocese keeps track of everything. And you are technically considered a Catholic as long as you're on that list, or they consider you part of their church. Yeah. For a long time, I kept getting letters from them that I needed to come and I needed to donate money, and that I hadn't been there in a while. You didn't.
Yes, Catholics, I've heard, other churches are big on wanting your money.
Yeah. So you can actually send a letter or or notify your archdiocese that you want to be removed, I think. I'm not sure. All churches want money.
All churches want money, apparently. Well, Catherine Paulson, how do you think churches feed? How do you think the church gets the money to feed the homeless, to give food to the people that need food to put on their table? How do you think they do it if they don't have money? Oh, dear me. The food just doesn't drop out of the sky. There's no list. List of parishes if you're a parishioner of the church, but there's no giant Catholic. Wasn't a diocese database, I don't believe.
All churches want money. My dad was never Catholic.
All right, here we're gonna go. Here we're gonna find something completely and utterly new now. And this gives me even more questions about what she's posted on her Instagram about the Israelis. Just have a listen.
My dad was never Catholic, but they got married in the Catholic Church. He had to become sort of Catholic to get married. And you know the crazy thing that my dad had to do when he got married to my mom? They made him sign a contract where he had to agree to allow my mom to raise us in the Catholic Church, and that was the only way they would marry my mom and dad in the Catholic Church. And my grandpa would not allow my mom not to get married in the Catholic Church. So basically, my dad had to go through all of these marriage workshops and everything. And then before they get married, he had to literally sign a contract and said I agree to not interfere with my wife's raising of our children in the Catholic Church, and I agree that I will raise my wife will raise our children in the Catholic Church. So it was always confusing growing up because my dad was it's crazy. My dad said it was stupid. He'd always tell me how wrong all the teachings were.
I thought I thought she said that her parents were Catholic. I don't know. First true thing she said yet. Thank you, Rick. Yeah, I thought she said her parents were Catholic too.
So many Catholic hoops. Imagine like having to promise your unborn children to a church. So wild. That was like an ongoing joke in our house. Because my dad would always be like, I'm not supposed to interfere. But then he would like tell me his theories about religion. And he grew up Presbyterian. It's so weird. And over time, my mom just got disillusioned with the church. So we stopped going.
Well, where does this fit in with the timeline of Dean? Where does Dean fit? Because I thought she said when she told the story about Dean that her mum went to church at that time.
I do remember the amount of, did you guys like, a lot of you get like a ton of money for your confirmation? I got so much money for my confirmation. My dad was like dedicated, man. He wanted to marry my mom, so he did it for her. But my dad was always like, my dad's best friend was, at the time when I was in all of this stuff, was Jewish. And so my dad would always share things about Judaism. And so he had me convinced for a long time that Jesus wasn't really God. He was like a prophet or like just a dude that was really faithful. And he literally had me convinced that God was like, Jesus wasn't God. And I believed him because it made more sense. Because I remember I came to him one day and I was like, how is Jesus God if he's literally the son of God? That doesn't make sense. And my dad's like, well, because he's not. And then I went to catechism that week and then I got pulled out of catechism and I got in a ton of trouble. And they were like, who told you that? Yep. I don't remember my Catholic name at all. Honestly. I block out so much of that. It's probably at my parents' house in their basement. I think they have all of that, all the paperwork still. No, I'm still hot. Anyway, I shared some stuff earlier today. Enjoy that content, and hopefully, I need to go eat dinner. And yeah, I'm hoping to feel better tomorrow so I can get back to work. Something happened here. Bye, guys.
She actually said goodbye. So that was it. So she's saying that her dad was more of the Jewish faith. So I find that really interesting considering how her Instagram, because her Instagram was so anti-Jewish. So I just find the whole thing very bizarre. But I thought she gave the impression that her dad was Jewish. She said bye this time is there. I know she did say bye, didn't she? Get back to it. Get offline and more on that. So someone did ask whether she was okay. She said no, she was still a bit hot. Hey, I somehow made it. You're going to need a wheelbarrow. So yes. So that was her live today, her one and only live for a weekend that she was supposed to be having off because she was going to have COVID vaccine side effects. So totally clueless. I thought I saw you say that your interpretation of what her Instagram was the same as mine, that she was reaching, like she was putting her own take on what was said. So that's interesting. Oh, you're about to make a cup of tea. You're so mad. Oh dear. Also, it was what was Monday? I know today's Monday, but it was International Day of Transphobia. Is it Ida Hot International Day? Think of your rubbing on your off on her. Now we need to learn her not to lie and keep stopping making stupid content. Yeah. So I'm expecting Monday there's going to be a lot of posts about homophobia and transphobia and the like. And we may hear the gay flags, the pride flag story again. Just to put you all on your toes. So yes, so International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia is Monday the 17th of May. So, as I said, be prepared because I'm sure she'll jump onto that. Turns out my bishop, Jeffrey Robinson, was apparently a great guy who was very cool. Oh, did you find the Royal Commission stuff? Did you, Poppy Seeds? As I said, there are some really good people there, and there are some really good people. I mean, Cardinal George Pell was convicted of, was it child essay, Poppy Seeds, or was it turning his back or not reporting it? I can't remember what it was. And then he actually got it overturned in, you found your confirmation certificate. And then he got, he won on appeal and he's back with the Pope now. But, that doesn't mean that all cardinals are bad, I can't remember the whole. It was child essay. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, final report. Yes, final Royal Commission into institutional. That was 2017. Poppy Seeds. That was pretty. So out of that was about making institutions safe. So, I mean, the hoops that you have to jump through now to work with children, like even within a church, is a lot. I mean, for example, for my brass class, when I'm at the church, I actually have to have a male with a male. We have to have a male and a female leader. We can't have multiples of the same sex. Is the Queen Anne? We can't have. We have to have. You can't have one person driving the bus. You actually have to then have somebody of the opposite sex on the bus as well. You can't transport children in your car unless you have another adult of the opposite sex. Like, it's just like you go, this is crazy, but this is where it's had to come. This is where it's had to go. How's the Queen? Is she out of hospital? Elizabeth? I didn't know she was in hospital. Or Jean? I didn't know. Is Jean in hospital? We had to take a class to even. Wow. Yeah, I thought you meant Queen Elizabeth too. So oh, did she? She went in last week with gastritis. There you go. Queen Elizabeth. I didn't know that. I have no idea. The last I saw, she'd opened Parliament. So she must be all right. There's a beautiful picture of her. She always looks beautiful and elegant. I can't. No, I don't know. I'm just having a look. I can't see anything recently for it, but who knows? Who knows? Oh, did she? Oh, okay. It was last Monday. Well, there you go. See, I'm the... No, I can't work it out. No. There you go. I can't... I'm not saying anything. Well, I'm going to call it a night. I've got early morning class. I've got an early class in the morning. And I'm, this wasn't going to be a long one because, I'm feeling okay, but it's starting to hit me again. So they said, I may start feeling sick tomorrow. Who knows? So I've got some stuff I need to do for uni before I go to bed tonight. But look, I really want to thank you all for watching. And look, you probably go, gee, you say that every night. But let me tell you, if you knew some of the stuff that I have been through and to see where this channel is at the moment, one day I will give you a little bit more information about some of the stuff that's happened in my life, and then you'll understand why I say it every night, how much I appreciate it, because I really do. And I think I'm on 1,200, and I think I'm on 1,220 subscribers at the moment, which is just blowing me away. And like nearly 2,000 people have watched that marathon video. And when you think that that's 800 subs more than 800 people more than I've got subscribers, that's pretty cool going. So I would really, I could be on 2,000 now if everybody subbed. But anyway, well, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll catch you again tomorrow, pending good health. So just keep me in your prayers. My auntie's funeral was today. They got to say goodbye. It was lovely, but it was very sad. But yes, so please, So no, I really, really all appreciate you. And I don't ever take you for granted either. So there's 104 people watching, it just makes me want to cry. I'm just so overjoyed and humbled. But anyway, I could ramble all night. I've been known to be able to ramble all night. So I will catch you again later. So thank you very much, and bye for now.